What is good, everyone? Welcome back to Redcat Live. That's right, the one and only show where we like to bring you guys all the latest and greatest that's all Redcat related. So, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to Redcat Live. That's right, the one and only show where we like to bring you guys all the latest and greatest that's all Redcat related. So, what is good, everyone? There we go. Sorry about that. See, there's always
that's what happens when you do stuff live.
Right. I always have some kind of reason to make things difficult. So
gotta have that little moment of panic where it's not really live.
Right. Oh man,
we're trying to see how Redcat Live actually is. Right. Well, now we know.
It's fully
unedited.
Yeah, raw, unedited, live and direct.
Straight Oscar to your face.
Right. Hey, so you guys know me, Oscar Ramirez, the host of Redcat Live, and I'm here with the one and only Mr. Matt Jackson, the lead head engineer, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that was working on so many cool things that you guys are going to love and enjoy as time goes on here at Redcat Racing. So we're going to open it up and have you guys ask some questions and be able to kind of do a Q&A live with us. And we hope that we can bring you guys another great show. For those of you guys that are here and are Lowrider fans, you're not going to want to go anywhere because there's something really awesome that we're going to share with you guys. And you guys are going to love it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's a hell of an intro.
I think so, right? I think it's a good way to start it off, right? Start off with a bang.
One of these days I'm going to rate headphones when we do this.
Right. Is it John Michael John, was it just a little too loud for you, brother? There, I kicked it down just a little bit better, a little bit more to hopefully make it a little bit more doable for you. So, guys, first and foremost, a lot of the things that we're up to here at Redcat is we're always trying to bring you guys, the best of ourselves, right? The best of engineering. And one of the things that a lot of you guys don't know is a little bit of the background that Matt has with him.
Uh-oh.
So, Matt, can you
I didn't realize we were going this deep.
Yeah, could you maybe give us a little bit of a 411 as to how you started here at Redcat Racing, engineering and doing things?
How I started here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I graduated from engineering school like almost 18 years ago now, and worked in a lot of different industries. And when I moved to Arizona, I was working at a local car company, and a guy who used to work there actually did some work for Redcat on some videography stuff back in the day. And the owner of Redcat had asked him, hey, do you know anybody who's an engineer who's maybe looking to make a switch or like looking for a job or anything? He said, actually, I got a guy who does some RC stuff for fun and is also an automotive engineer, so you should talk to him. And kind of the rest was history. Like, I think maybe 3 months later I was working here. So
interesting. So as you arrive and you join the team here, obviously there was a lot of things already in the works, right?
A few things, yeah. A few ideas.
What was the one project that obviously had you winning right out of the gate, like that had you so excited?
Had me so, well, I mean, we worked on a couple projects right out of the gate, but the very first one was the 64. Like, that was the reason that the owner of the company decided, hey, we need to go ahead and start an engineering team here and start building our own stuff, because he wanted to see a lowrider brought to market in the RC world.
And so you worked on the project from ground up?
Yeah, ground up.
So with that, obviously came a lot of challenges expressed, and we'll touch base on that here in a little bit because...
Right, because you're going to show the little documentary we've been working on.
No, I'm not sharing anything. No.
You just did.
No, I'm not doing it. No. So guys, let me see. We got 26 people. If you guys can do me a favor and share this, and if we can get a couple more followers to jump on this live stream, I'm going to show you guys something really, really cool. So share away. Let's get this going because you guys are going to love what I'm about to share with you guys. There's a lot of guys that are actually in the chat right now that were a part of this, and they've been waiting months to see this. They have been itching to watch this mini documentary that we're going to drop on you guys, and we really hope that you guys are going to really love and enjoy this. See, Louis already biting his nails. He's like, come on, let me in, guys. So before we drop it, okay, we're up to 30. So before we do drop this really quick, Matt, what has been your favorite aspect about working here at Redcat so far?
Oh man, the atmosphere, kind of the creative freedom. I mean, coming from the full size world, going to RC, you might be able to imagine there's like a lot less stress, right? Because like you're not necessarily gonna, you're definitely not gonna hurt anybody unless something really goes wrong with RC, right?
Right.
But at the same time, you've got still the same like the good stress, like the pressure to like get stuff done and like deal with issues at the factory and stuff. And I kind of like thrive on that stuff. But you don't have the, oh my gosh, if this thing breaks, somebody's dying kind of thing, right? Like you do with full size.
Now, I have seen some people though get some ankles taken out over the years.
That's usually rare.
Right? I know that's always been a thing. So.
Usually area.
Right. Man, much love, guys. We got crazy crawlers in the house. We got someone out from Norman, Oklahoma. Louis Alcala, Jeff Ramos, thank you guys so much for joining us today. You guys are awesome. John Michael, man, much love, brother. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. George Hook, man, you guys are awesome, man. All right, so you guys want to see it? You guys want to see this mini documentary? I think you guys are going to like this. I'm excited.
We got some random dude off the street to narrate it, so.
Let me tell you what. If you guys can guess the voice on the narration.
I think there's a giveaway in the video.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there probably is a giveaway. There always is a giveaway, isn't there? All right, so without further ado, guys, you guys are going to get a sneak peek and preview for the first time ever aired, the mini documentary series for the 64. It's something that a lot of passion has gone into creating. We love it, we enjoy it, and every time I watch it, it makes me want to buy another one just because of the sense of pride that comes with it.
And because you can get it cheaper because you work here.
That's... I feel on blast right now. So without further ado, guys, we hope you guys enjoy. Here you go from all of us to all of you guys and all of our amazing followers and fans of the RC Lowrider. This is going to be the one place you're going to be able to watch this, and I don't know when you're going to see it again. So if you're not here watching it right now, yeah, you better go home.
Well, to be fair, you'll be able to rewatch it right here.
Well, you could if I re-air it, if I make it public. I don't know, I might be stingy.
You're gonna.
I might. All right, guys, without further ado, here is the preview for the mini documentary series of the 64 Redcat Hopper. Enjoy.
The 64 Impala is a timeless icon, a cross-section of culture, art, and social progress that spans generations. The development of the Redcat 64 begins with a man known as Jeffries. He was the man creating custom one-off RC lowriders that were the inspiration for the 64. His models were a masterwork of scratch building, hand-cut aluminum extrusions for the frame, custom brass suspension links and steering rack, and a complicated system of electronics, pulleys, strings, and springs to control the hopping motion.
So before I started out creating Lowrider model cars, I started out creating Lowrider bicycles. And when Lowrider Bicycle magazine came out, there was this picture over here of a 64 Chevy Impala hopping. It's a model kit car. I was like, this is so cool. You can actually create a working model lowrider using a model kit. Like this one over here. This is the first kit I ever bought after that, after seeing that picture of a 64 Chevy Impala. Well, when I started out, I used very basic components like small DC motors on the chassis with a fishing line that's pulling the front suspension down to make it hop. Later on, I added motors to make it drive and steer, adding lights and sounds. And eventually, I tried to challenge myself even more by building those mini truck bed dancers. It can spin and it can tilt to the side. A friend of mine who lived in the US, he had one of those 67 Chevy Impalas made by Radio Shack. He asked me, well, do you think you can make it hop? And I'm like, yeah, I think so, I can make it hop. Once I figured out how much weight I need to use to make it hop nice and slow, like the real thing, I was just super excited about it. And I forgot about line controlled model cars and completely went with the RC Lowrider cars.
In 2016, Redcat's founder discovered the work Jeffries was doing and identified a market for these special vehicles. Redcat developed a partnership with Jeffries to start developing a model for mass production. This is where I came in. I'm Matt Jackson, Director of Engineering for Redcat. My first task was to re-engineer the Jeffries model into a product that could be mass-produced. The original model may have been a masterwork of DIY design, but the pulleys, strings, and springs that controlled the hopping were not reliable enough for a commercial product. At first we experimented with solenoids, but we found solenoids were unable to produce the necessary force for reliable hopping. From there, it was decided that a servo would be used, as we could adjust the hopping performance by modifying the length of the servo horn. Servos also enabled us to control the ride height of the front end of the car. The tricky thing was finding the right servo to use, so we reached out to Reefs, and they came through big time for us, creating a servo that produced all the strength and speed necessary for hopping. The next roadblock in development was the radio design. Using a standard pistol grip radio wasn't going to work for the 64, as you need to be able to control the suspension at the same time as the throttle and steering. Our initial ideas included designs such as a completely separate radio to control just the suspension that you could pass to a friend, a game controller style radio, and even a custom radio that would allow you to control the throttle and steering with one hand. In the end, we worked with FlySky to develop a highly modified 6-channel aircraft radio to meet the very specific needs of RC lowriders. The next major hurdle in production may have been the most important, the body design. The 64 Impala is an iconic vehicle. Our original designs used a traditional 10th scale RC wheelbase, but the aspect ratio was all wrong, which would have been painful to look at for Impala aficionados. So we sent as many 64 photos as we could find to our body designer. We even 3D laser scanned a die-cast model to get extremely accurate measurements for the design. The result is a 5-piece body that accurately achieves all the iconic lines of the 1964 Chevy Impala. In the end, it took 3.5 years for the 64 to be developed. The community reaction to the car has made it all worthwhile.
As soon as they announced the car, I saw the post and then I saw the page and I immediately said, let's go. Let's join it. Let's see what this is about. And it was crazy. It was something that I hadn't seen before. So many people just coming together and being so quick to help each other out. And don't get me wrong, the other, communities in RC are the same way, but I don't think that happened overnight.
I feel that the 64 community that has literally been created from ground up, it's one that cultivates the culture of the lowrider community.
Since I started getting onto the pages for the 64, I've seen nothing but love from the RC community. These guys have amazing talents when it comes to customizing their 64s.
First thing I ordered was the clear body. You gotta have that custom paint. You gotta have that custom touch to it, the interior.
For me, old school was just a clean ride, nice rims, 520s. I channeled the back of the yellow car to make it sit lower. I drilled the cross members to really lay the front down.
Pretty much all the work has been done myself. I engraved the trims, two-tone chrome and gold. I did all the paintwork, the graphics, the flake. I did a trunk setup in there with the 2 pumps. Everything's wired as it should.
The 64 community carries many avenues when it comes to social media presence. We're seeing videos shared on YouTube, on Instagram, from different builders all around the world.
I've taken it out a couple times, when I'm out and about with the family, to the park, to the beach, just to kind of enjoy it a little bit. The feedback that I get it's kind of crazy, man. Like everywhere that I take it, I get a little crowd, and a lot of props.
We set up a photo shoot to do some videos. We went to Chicago Park, talked about love. The locals gave us space, they didn't mess with us. We went around all over Chicago Park and drove around, videoed, and to prove that these things aren't just shelf cleans.
The level of customizations, the creativity, the diversity, it's very motivating to see, so many different cultures and backgrounds. And sometimes you have people like me, since a kid, I've always wished to own a real 64. Unfortunately, to this day, I haven't been able to. But I did what I would love to do to a real car on the 64.
Redcat did what a lot of people have tried and failed is they brought the RC hobbyist, that hardcore builder, but they also brought in the car enthusiasts that had no idea that RC was a hobby, brought them in and just created this unlimited wealth of knowledge that has created such a cool community to be part of.
All right, guys. So that was it. That was the mini documentary on the 64. What do you guys think? Did you guys like it? Did you guys enjoy it?
I loved it.
Of course, your voice was all over.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Right.
I'm a little biased.
It's a little cynical.
It was
don't you
fun.
think?
It was a fun project for sure. Like, it was more fun designing the car in the first place, but like making that video was just kind of like icing on the cake. It was a good time.
I love to honestly just have been a part of it and to just have a little piece of the growth in that is amazing. Nowhere near the kind of work that you've put in over the years in working on this. And I know a huge sense of pride when you look at this vehicle, because there's so much engineering, so much that went into it that you firsthand, I'm sure, had a learning curve on.
Oh yeah.
And you probably learned a lot of things about yourself as a designer.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, yeah, you feel, a pretty good sense of pride whenever you see a product that you've brought to market. I mean, that wasn't my first, but there've been a few out there, but it's always a unique experience. Some people I've heard say it's kind of like having a child born. Like, I don't have any kids, so I can't say that that's what it's like at all, but it does definitely carry some weight to it as like a lifetime experience. But you say, like, yeah, you look at it and you feel pride, but at the same time, like, for me and for a lot of engineers I know, like, when you see a product, you always kind of focus on the negative, and you tend, not always, but like the little things that bug you that you wish you could have like tweaked a little bit more before it went to production, or you noticed as it was being made or something, and it's like, oh God, and then it's always gonna, so you got to try to focus on the good part and the pride, and then like actually like seeing people's reactions to it and seeing that everybody loves it is like, that's what keeps you on the positive side.
Well, and I know you and I had a really great conversation right when it came out, and I think a lot of people, feel this way, and I know Louis on the video nailed it, because he said something that really stuck to me, and I felt the exact same way, which was, hey, I can't afford a real one-to-one 64 Impala. It's always been my dream to own one, but this just allows me to do it on a smaller scale, and is doable. You're not going to spend $50,000-$60,000 on a car, and then you end up at $100 and some thousand by the end of the whole thing. And here we're like, yeah, it's a pricey point to start at $599 for a hopper, but honestly, it's a fraction of a cost to what you have. To really makes it unique in a sense.
And it's funny, at least for me, it's kind of a good parallel to like why I got into automotive engineering in the first place, because I was a car nut. But like, if you want to go out there and be able to play with all these really nice cars and stuff, unless you're like crazy YouTuber, you got all that YouTube gold, like it was a way for me to get into messing with things that I was really into, that there was a pretty high barrier to entry to cost-wise otherwise, right? It's like the same thing. Like when I got into it and I was, working on high-end sports cars and driving around multi-million-dollar prototypes and stuff, that was like that's what I wanted to do, You
guys heard that, right? You guys know where he came from now. You look at all in hindsight, the road traveled. When you look back behind you and you look at what you've done, how far you've come in the development of this project, working with great folks like Jeffries that had such a big influence in this market before it was even developed, right?
He basically started it.
Right. He's the triple OG godfather, when you think about it, when it comes to, model lowriding and RC lowriding in general. And to have his support in growing that was amazing. And dude, I got to give it to you. I think you did a great job on the narration. I loved it. Every time I've seen this video at least a handful of times, and every time I watch it, again, regardless of the fact that I get employee cost,
I want to buy another one.
I want to buy another one, yeah. And I want to start a new build, and I'm on my fourth body right now, and
well, at some point you got to stop buying more chassis and just start buying more clear bodies, right?
And that's what I'm getting at.
Because you don't need them all at the same time, like all lined up. Like have your own car show, right?
Right. I'm gonna scroll back really quick. And see if we can answer a couple questions that came up. One of them was Aaron Matheson wants to know, what does it feel like to be the mad scientist that does magic?
Well, you know what they say: any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. Right?
There you go. Look at that, man. You has an answer for everything. I love it.
I think about it.
Aaron Barnum wants to know how many servos are involved on the 64.
Well, there's 4 servos in production: one for steering, one for the rear. Well, one for each corner of the rear, and then one for hopping and to move the front up and down.
There you go, Aaron.
But if you wanted to say like how many we tested, several hundred.
Wow.
Lots of servos. It was months of servo testing.
So obviously on the mission to find the servo that would work best for it, obviously was a mission in itself to locate something that had the speed and the power
Right.
that you wanted.
Right. Yeah, and we didn't quite go into the detail that was originally in the script and in the mini documentary. We can talk about that a little bit. So some of you may know, if you're familiar with the crawler world, we came out a year and a half ago with the Gen 8 Axe, and one of the featured products in the Gen 8 Axe is a Reefs crawling servo. And so I was actually on a trip to LA to meet with Reefs right before the Axe came out, and the 64 had kind of been pushed back a bit already because we were redesigning the body, largely because of pushback from Jeffrey saying, hey, no, that's not good enough. And we're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Anyway, the car had been delayed sufficiently that we were meeting with Reefs and we were getting ready to go into production with the 64. And this was it had to be a year and a half ago. And he said, hey, so what other projects are you working on? Do you have anything else that I might be able to help out with? And, I said, okay, well, nobody else has seen this yet, but I showed him a video of the car hopping, and it was using one of the other front-runner servo that was going to be, the one we were actually going to go to production with. They were getting ready to start production, and he said, hold on, let me send you something to play with. And the next week, he sent me 6 of the prototype servos for that. He already just happened to have one that was as fast and as strong as it was, and threw it on there, and we basically stopped production and said, no, you got to wait for these servos to show up. We're going to use these.
I love it. And any of you guys that know Reefs or come to meet him over the years, you will know that's his style. Like, he's always thinking ahead. So him being inquisitive, like, yo, dude, what you got? What else you got going on in the works? That's totally him to the T.
And because of this, we've started kind of sharing a lot of the stuff that we're working on with him.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean go ask him what Redcat's got coming out. It just
He won't
means
tell you anyways. He's really good at keeping secrets.
We like to try to get his opinion on things and see what ideas he has for future products.
Absolutely. Gabriel, I'm going to mess this up. I'm so sorry, Gabriel, if I mess this up. Borisiaga, I hope I said that right, wants to know, will Redcat develop any other Impala bodies?
Any other Impala bodies? You mean like different years of Impala body, I presume? It's certainly there's some potential for that. With kind of the lowrider scene in general, we knew it was going to be a good product, and we believed in it, but we didn't really know exactly how popular it was going to be and how well it was going to take off. And everybody kind of knows the state of the world here, and new things take a while to develop. So that's something that we've started working on a few other projects in the lowrider genre, which is about all I'll say in there. But it takes 3 to 4 months to get an initial sample in of a new body or a new car or whatever, and then you've got to do testing. You have a couple back and forths with the factory, and then you've got production, which is another month, and then on top of that, you've got the current global shipping crisis, which is who knows when stuff gets here. So
right, and for a lot of folks out there, it's like
the timeline's pretty long for just about any new product right now.
Right, and in retrospect too, keep in mind, guys, I know a lot of followers and fans of RC. We're seeing this going across all of the different manufacturing platforms, which is once these vehicles are made, you're on a waiting list for a container to get these bad boys out onto the water. They're going to spend a month and a half on the water, and then they have to get transported here, and so it everything takes time. But
now they're charging a premium for containers. It's really getting pretty wild out there.
Right. So rest assured, it sounds like stuff's in the work.
Yeah, no, it's like we are all in on this idea of the kind of the lowrider genre and this niche of RC. We love the opportunities that it brings for artistic expression. We are enjoying how much it's grown, just kind of the Redcat brand in that space, and I think there's a lot of potential there. So we're not ignoring it by any means. We got some stuff in the works, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because I can't tell you when it's coming, and we don't want people getting too excited prematurely.
Right. Stephen Miles, I hope that also answered your question, because your question was, do we have a plan for making more Lolos?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not done yet. We're not ready to drop the mic yet. Let's just put it that way. We're still holding on to it very tight. It's still our microphone right here, and we're going to hold on to it for as long as we can. So let's just put it that way. Let's see. Michael Thomas wants to know, is there any plans for potential workings into a no-prep drag car?
Any plans for no? I mean, there's something that gets asked almost every time we do one of these. It's either between that or like a drift car and everything. And a lot of it's, market forces. We got to, see what's going to happen. I think a lot of people are waiting to see kind of what happens with the new Traxxas car that just came out. And am I even allowed to say their name in this? I don't know that I'm allowed to, but I just did.
I just say Voldemort's. That's what I call the other companies that aren't us.
Those guys in Dallas.
Yeah.
So
they who shall not be named.
It's a tough sell, because like everything that we want to do, like we've become kind of enamored with this idea of not really following in a lot of people's footsteps. Like we want to do something that's new and innovative. And when you look at a no-prep drag car, right now the vast majority of them on the market are, made from Slash parts, or they are now a Traxxas Slash that was modified by the factory to be a no-prep drag car. And so if we're going to do something new in that, it's got to be interesting enough to bring enough people away from that we feel that we can make it be a profitable venture to do it. So if you've got ideas for what Redcat can do differently about a no-prep drag car that's something new that nobody's done out there, send an email to engineering@redcat.com. Don't send it to Traxxas. That'd be great. Actually, no, it's engineering@redcatracing.com.
Right. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Someone was saying, let's see here, they want to see things like a 63, a 62. Those are awesome, very pivotal Impalas as well.
And they all fit on the same chassis. It's just, you got to, again, we have to demonstrate that it's something that there's going to be enough interest in. And we did a poll on the RC Lowriders Facebook group a while ago, and there were a lot that were really popular. And so we've been kind of investigating some of those bodies that might work, and it'll probably be kind of a one at a time thing, because you've got to, like I said earlier, there's a long process of testing and development and then production and shipping and
Josh Drake wants to know, are there any potential hop-ups in the works for the 64?
There are. Not going to tell you what there are, but there are. I mean, I think that's what we're all seeing, right? Is like the market is stronger than we really anticipated a little bit, and what we're really finding is kind of as we expected, because it is such a platform that provides an opportunity for such artistic expression, that having more options out there for parts that you don't have to go make yourself with styrene or a 3D printer or whatever is a quite helpful thing to encourage that artistic expression. So yeah, we're working on some things.
That's
and
awesome.
We'll be sure to let you know as soon as they're going to be available.
Right.
As soon as we know when they're going to be available. There's some things that might already be on the way.
I will say this. I'm actually reading my text message, and we just got the okay to let you guys know that.
Oh God, what are we doing? You're scaring me here.
Well, that we're okay to tell you guys a little tidbit, which is obviously
floodgates.
When the 64 came out, we offered a classic edition and the amazing livery, which is the Jeffries edition, right?
You're doing it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for
I thought you just
permission.
got a text message.
Yeah, Mom, coming. So the little birdie just told me that we're going to have something releasing early this week coming up for you guys, and it will be something similar to the Jeffries Edition 64 with another really well-known artist. So that's all I can say. That's all I can share. But definitely keep tabs. When we are ready to release this coming week, you will see these two faces again, because we're going to do a live unboxing for you guys. Oh yeah.
Pretty sure I'll be out of town.
Oh, yeah. You'll be out of town. That's right. I'll bring Aaron. And which reminds me, Aaron wants to know: is there any way to get a 64 into space?
Yeah, of course. Rocket engines can take lots of things into space, Aaron. Trolling me from down the hallway.
Right. Louis Alcala wants to know, Matt, are there any secrets?
Of course.
It's like, that's all you're going to get.
I mean, it sounded like a yes or no question to me.
Right. Brandon Smith wants to know, is there any potential for a builder's kit lowrider in the future?
You know, that'd be really interesting. I think with the 64, obviously, we had to test the waters with an RTR, because there's a lot of things about it, especially for an unestablished market, that the setup needs to be right out of the box. Like, anybody who's accidentally done a factory reset on their radio will know. Like, there's a lot of endpoints to adjust.
Yeah.
On that car.
I made that mistake twice.
So yeah, like you definitely want to do the RTR, right, to like make sure that a new person who's getting into it, especially with a niche like this, where we're bringing a lot of new people into RC from the lowrider community. They never messed with an RC car before. We want to make that learning curve as gentle as possible. So we want to have a good experience out of the box. So once that market is then established, and there are those people out there who have kind of embraced the idea of an RC lowrider and what they can do with it and have learned the way around it, then there starts to become a market for doing things like that. So it's not out of the question. Right now there aren't any current plans, I believe, to release a kit version, but it's always something that's on the burner that we're thinking about.
You know what, and obviously if there's a strong enough market for it, I mean, it makes sense, right, from a business standpoint as well. So, only the future is going to tell really what is going to come of it. I'm a fan. I would love to do a builder's kit with the clear body and, be able to do my own setup the way I want with my own electronics. I think that would be something that could be awesome, and I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy that. Tony Gutierrez wants to know, is there any potential way that Redcat can offer the antennas without the entire chrome package? It seems to be
the antennas without the
on the Impalas, because people seem to break them so.
They are a fragile part, especially like when you turn it over. If you don't use the foam or whatever, it tends to break off. We'll have to look into that. It's the way it sits on the mold tree. It might be inconvenient to have different quantities available because it's on a mold tree with a lot of the other chrome parts when you go to produce it. But we do have some other molds that are potentially going to be made in the future, so we might look into including those. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
There you go. Let me see. Jim Wolf, he says he really hoped the 64 would be in stock, so he can get one soon. Well, Jim, guess what, man? We literally just sold the last of the classic blues that we had. Literally, I think yesterday we still had some in stock. But again, this coming week, stay tuned. Have your credit card, Affirm, PayPal ready, because you're going to be buying one and you're going to love it. Trust me. Let's see. Louis Alcala, another custom edition. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's going to be another custom 64 coming out, and the livery aspect of it is by another well-known artist, and we're really excited to bring that to you. We can't release any more details on specifications and colors and whatnot.
It's cool looking,
but it's badass. it's sick, and I think I'm going to be buying my third one. So let's see. So Tony asked potential for or almost ready to run, just with an unpainted body.
No, that was something that we had a poll go on the Facebook group again a couple weeks ago, and I think most people misunderstood. It seemed like most people thought that we were trying to hint that there was going to be a kit, and that really wasn't what we were talking about. We were talking about the potential of literally just selling it either with a clear body or without a body altogether. So that's still something that is potentially being considered. But yeah, if that's something you want, just let us know.
All right. Albert wants to know, will there be a full-size interior for the 64?
A full-size interior, like full-scale size interior, as in like
That's what I'm assuming.
full height seats and everything. That'd be pretty difficult because all the electronics and everything get in the way.
Right. You have to have a really high tunnel going down the middle, right?
You could do it if you took out the hopping servo and relocated your steering servo, and you made a little hump in the back seat to go over the motor and transmission. You could probably do it, but you can't do it out of Lexan because you can't get the draw depth that you need with a vacuum form for just the way that it works. You can't draw it deep enough without the corners getting really thin. So it would have to be hard plastic. And at the same time, it would be something that, like I said, if you really wanted it to be a full-scale interior, you'd have to have it not hop, and you'd have to have a lot of other concessions for that. So I'm not sure that that's a compromise that a whole lot of people would be willing to make. That could be the kind of thing that if a community member designed it and like shared it on Thingiverse and on like our page, we would probably promote that. And who knows like what licensing deals that person might get for manufacturing of that part. But right now I don't think it probably makes sense for us to come out with a full-on injection molded piece like that, because I'm not convinced that there'd be enough people that would want to make the concessions necessary for a full-scale interior.
I get that. Little, off-topic question on another product that we offer.
What?
I know, something other than 64. Get that. I love the Redcat KAIJU from Sheldon Sam. He says, any future upgrades for the KAIJU in the works by chance?
We love the KAIJU too. That was one of the very first bashers that was largely developed in-house. And there's a lot of things that we found with that were not as strong as they needed to be from the factory. And so a lot of those things have actually been rolling changes. The car's been improving as production's been going on. And that's, something that's fairly common, right? As far as upgrades for the car, I can't really say exactly.
So I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm going to ask you.
Rather you than me.
Well, hey, I'm saying I'm not as smart as you, so I can't get another job as easy as you can.
Oh, come on.
I have to ask, what kind of things do we have in the works? Can we say anything? Can we give them anything at all?
So I can tell you that we've recently expanded the size of the Redcat engineering department. We've grown quite a bit, and we've got 4 or 5 projects in the works at any given time in various stages of development. I can tell you that this year we will come out with at least 3 new vehicles. At least, and it might be more than that depending on, like I said, the shipping issues. But we're super confident that 3 will be here this year. And 2 of those are going to be slow, and one of them is going to be real fast. That's about all I'll say.
I'm excited. Oh, I'm excited. You guys heard it. You guys heard it first. I'm not getting fired today because it didn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah. I was vague enough. That's fine.
He said 2 slow, 1 fast. You guys, come on.
I don't speak with a southern accent anymore.
Sometimes you just have to I'm going to start collecting cans. I'm going to start getting my pockets ready because it's going to be a great year for Redcat. I'm telling you guys, we're not done. We ain't going nowhere. We're sticking around, and we're definitely going to make sure that people know our name moving forward when it comes to the scene. So, man, we appreciate you guys, really. Every week after week, we've been doing these shows, and we're slowly making them better and better. The quality of things that we're investing in, such as even the camera equipment that we're using here today, we want to make sure we give you guys the best of ourselves. And
we got the new Redcat green screen experience now.
Yeah, it actually works this time without pixelation. How about that? So, with that said, man, I know that everything that you've put into this, Matt, over the course of the years is awesome and amazing, and I personally appreciate it. I appreciate when I wasn't an employee here, seeing the changes happen gradually, and I'm really glad to be a part of the changes happening now.
Well, thank you. I mean, really, like I said in the documentary, that's really what makes it worthwhile. It's not everybody. I can't say necessarily everybody, but I feel like everybody wants to kind of make a mark on the world, right? And do something they feel like matters. And a lot of times you can be head down in the weeds and working on your next project. So having people appreciate it is it's what keeps you going.
I'm telling you, man, it's being a fan and being, in the hobby for so many years, and then being on this side of things. And then, I don't get all of the, to see all the goodies, but I get enough to be able to keep myself hyped up every day.
Well, you do now.
I do now.
I don't hide anything from you now.
No, not anymore. That's usually because I'm always creeping.
That's true. I'll have my headphones on, and then suddenly where'd you come from?
I'm over here like thinking over hey, Matt, what's going on today? What are we working on? So someone asked, where is it? Ronnie Houston. He says he loves his landslide. It's a great truck. He's just wondering, will there ever be any kind of pop-ups that we will offer for it that you know of?
Not that I know of. The landslide's been around a few years. And I love the landslide too. Like I've bashed the crap out of landslides.
And just so you guys know, last week we recorded a whole new video for the landslide, which should drop hopefully the next week or two. And we beat it to death. I'm telling you guys, we sent it until we couldn't send it no more. We went out with the intention of using it as we would enjoy it, and then at the end, just full send mode.
I think the reason why I currently don't have any hop-ups in the pipeline for the landslide is because it is a fairly well-established product, right? It's been around for a few years. So if there's something on it that you think, I'd love to have, carbon fiber or aluminum part of this, let us know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly send us an email, send us a message on Facebook, whatever. Just if there's something out there that people want, we'll put it on the list for consideration.
Absolutely. Josh Drake, actually, let me go back. Louis Akal had a quick question. He says, what's the owner of Redcat's feelings about taking a chance on the Lowrider 64?
What am I, press secretary now?
I guess so, yeah. And given the positive feedback and obvious success of it.
I mean, he's thrilled, as we all are. That was the reason he took a chance on hiring an engineering team, right? Was specifically to do that car. And yeah, some of the risk of that had kind of been mitigated a little bit over the years by certain things coming out, like the Gen 8, right? Like the Gen 8's one of our very best-selling products of all time, and everybody loves it. And, well, not everybody, right? But we love it, and everybody. There's always going to be haters for some stuff. You can't please everybody. But, yeah, I think there was still a little bit of that trepidation of, I went through all this to, get these engineers on board to build this thing that he wasn't even, necessarily sure we could actually be done, but we wanted to give it a try, and it wound up being really great, and everybody seems to really like the fact that it exists. So yeah, he's pretty thrilled.
Yeah, and and with that, obviously, the fact that he wants to continue investing into this project and potentially grow with the times, so to speak, really speaks volumes, right? It's worthwhile, and just so you guys know, the owner has just as big of a passion for RCs as we do. He's not just a guy that sits behind the desk and pushes numbers every day. He's a big fan of the toys, and he's a big fan of RCs, and most of the time he snaps at us when we're drag racing our KAIJUs up and down the hallway. Are you guys kidding me again? It's great time.
And then he's like, give me that controller.
Yeah, it's my turn.
And then he crashes the car. He says, this car sucks.
Gabriel, let's see here. Gabriel Borisiaka, I'm totally messing that up, man. I'm so sorry, brother. How about a Redcat developed airbag system for tuners? Can this be a possibility?
Like bags?
Yeah. No, because you're meaning for tuners, I'm assuming you're meaning more like for a different platform.
So I mean, that's something that we've looked into. I can't. When we first started the 64, right? There was a whole lot of discussion about how we were going to make it move, right? Yeah, Jeffries did it with servos, but that doesn't mean that it was necessarily how we were going to do it. It wound up being the way that we did it because it winds up actually being the simplest. But we investigated a lot of different ways of doing it. We thought about potentially, and we didn't cover a lot of this in documentary because we had to keep the documentary shorter, right? But we investigated making actual tiny hydraulic systems, for example, which is not that far removed from doing something like airbags. The problem that most people would have, I think, in airbags with RC is that you got to have a compressor on board, and you'd have to find the smallest compressor you possibly can or you'd have to use like CO2 cartridges. If you use CO2 cartridges, it's not going to work for very long. You're going to get a few movements and that's it. You've got to have a really tiny valve block to redirect the flow of air, and then you got to have a control system for it. Like it's a very complicated thing. And while I would love to do that, it would be so much fun for me personally to go design something like that and make it work, because that's what I do. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would fly, because it'd wind up being, I mean, it'd be a $300 or $400 kit. It'd be ridiculous.
Right. Tony mentioned he wants to see some Redcat 64 or Impala T-shirts.
Well, that's not my department.
No, it's not. But you know what? We'll send it up to the powers that be. You never know. Let me see here. Josh Drake says, man, he loves his Gen 8.
See, there's one. There's a guy who loves Gen 8.
I love my Gen 8, actually. I enjoy my Axe.
As do I.
A lot.
Mine's a Warthog now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. He wants to know if we're going to potentially have any other bodies in the future for that platform from us. Obviously, the platform is a 12.3 platform,
right,
which other companies such as Proline and other manufacturers make plenty of bodies that would and should fit it. But yeah, I mean, obviously the way we design the fender wells and whatnot are a little more specific to the sizing of the body. Would there be any potential for us to offer something?
I don't know. I think if we came out with another crawler that was a similar size, we would obviously have another body. I don't know if we would do another body that would necessarily fit the Gen 8 platform without modification, because the fenders on the Gen 8 are so specific to that Scout body, right? The inner fenders are made to fit that body. So anybody who goes and puts a different body on the Gen 8 knows you got to take those fenders off or take a Dremel to them. You got to modify
them. Slim them down, yeah. Right. Mike Westervelt wants to know, what are the chances of Redcat ever getting into the mini crawler scene?
The mini crawler scene? How small?
I think the go-to is a 1/24 scale.
1/24th. I mean, that seems.
You have at least 3 manufacturers.
Yeah.
Working in that area.
We'd have to do some market research on it and see if it's a thing that would fit. If we think that we could sell enough of them, then yeah, we would do it. But I don't know. We'll put it on the list to think about. Thanks.
Right. And Josh, I get it, man. We're not saying you have to trim your wheel wells on the actual Proline body. We're talking about the actual inner fender wells on the Gen 8 itself.
Yeah, that come with the Gen 8,
right,
the hard plastic.
The hard plastic ones. I mean, you have to open up your wheel wells to your standard lines anyways. We're not telling you to open it up anymore, but because the hard plastic fender liners inside are so wide, a lot of people have to trim them down and narrow them down.
And, when we were designing the Gen 8, we wanted to make it as flexible of a platform as we could, which is why it has those extra holes in the center plate and then up on the upper mounts and the lower mounts for the 4-link and the 3-link, so that you can change your wheelbase, so that you can move it around and fit a wider range of bodies. But in order to do that, you do have to start removing those inner fenders and modify them as necessary to fit other stuff.
Yeah. Tony wants to know, any chance of ever seeing a 6x6 Gen 8?
No.
No.
But I should say, the defining characteristic of the Gen 8 is pretty much the combination of the axles and the chassis, right? That's what makes it the Gen 8, right? And the way that the axles, the portal axles, are designed, it does not leave the opportunity for having a pass-through to get, an additional driven axle. So somebody could build one, but it wouldn't be doing anything. It'd just be an axle being dragged around.
A neutral axle, right? Yeah.
Unless we designed a whole new axle. So that's a much bigger investment of both time and money into making a new mold. So it would have to be something that, hey, there's a lot. Or we have to run a different transfer case that has an additional output shaft that bypasses the first axle and goes to the second, which I believe is how Traxxas did it. I'm not really familiar with it, because personally I think 6x6 is a dumb idea. Personally, but it's not to say that people don't appreciate it. Right now it doesn't look like it makes sense for us to do that as far as the investment required for the size of the potential market.
Right. I mean, it has to make, at the end of the day, guys, we're all fans of RC, but at the same time, it's got to make dollars and cents. And,
I couldn't tell you the number of times where we wound up taking a product to market that I didn't personally think was something that I would enjoy. right? Like that happens all the time. That's just kind of the engineer's lot.
just like me getting hired here, he didn't think he was going to enjoy me. But see, heck, he can't get rid of me now.
Yeah.
I'm attached to him by the hip.
Now that's not true at all. I actually told them to hire him because I was on his podcast before he came here.
He's like, he seems like a cool dude. he asked me a lot of questions, and it made me almost answer them.
He asked semi-intelligent questions.
Right. Lee Warmer wants to know, he's a big Ford fan, right? He says, Chevys, Impala. Would there ever be a chance of seeing a Ford body on the 64 platform?
Oh, now there's an interesting question. Now,
something like a Fairlane, 67 Fairlane.
Would a Fairlane fit? I mean, it's a long wheelbase, was it?
It was a long wheelbase,
113 inches, something like that. I think we would have to think that, or we'd have to see that there were enough people interested in it. Obviously, that's the thing I keep harping on, right? But there would need to be enough following in the lowrider game for a particular Ford body that would fit on the chassis well enough to do the design justice for us to then investigate or reach out to Ford and talk to them about licensing it. Like with GM, their licensing is pretty easy.
And we've been able to make a really good relationship with them,
right?
Over the last year or two.
3.5 years.
3.5 years. So, obviously when you have a great working relationship, it makes streamlining those kinds of things just kind of
right. We basically had the licensing in the works for the 64 about the time that I was hired in 2017. Like it's been a while. Because why are you going to go all in on a project like this unless you know you can use the actual car design, right?
Right. I'm going to answer a few more questions really quick, guys, and then we're going to wrap up. So Josh Drake wants to know, is the 64 special release this next week? Keep an eye open for early this coming week. As soon as I get the blessing, as soon as I get the thumbs up, I'm going live. It may be Monday. It may be Tuesday, it may be Wednesday. Shoot, it may be Thursday or even Friday. But it will happen, and we're going to go live, and we're going to do an unboxing of this new, in my opinion, extremely iconic version of the 64. And again, for those guys that are just joining now and didn't hear me earlier, this coming week, we will be releasing a special edition 64 done up by a very well-known artist. This artist is well-renowned, top-notch work. The livery on these specific bodies and colors are fire. So keep an eye out for that. You may also get an email blast as soon as they come out. So it's going to be a great week for Redcat, and it's going to be a great third and fourth quarter as well, as long as things keep going as they're going right now.
Are you just saying it's going to be a great week for Redcat because I'm going on vacation?
Well, that too, because now I get to go sit in your office and play with your computer, because you got all the cool monitors. I don't. Let me see. So let me see one more last question here. Oscar Mears, I see taco residue on your beard. Yeah, man, I had tacos today too. They were bomb, dude. Birria tacos, they were fire. Anything coming out with the MT10E?
I think this is a very similar situation to the landslide, right? Like most of us have a very high regard for the MT10E, and a lot of the guys who have been around Redcat for 8 or 9 years will tell you that they think the MT10E is the very best basher that we've ever released. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So right now there's not a list of things to be made for it. But if there's something you want to see, let us know, and we'll take it under advisement.
All right. And Ryan Ackerman, sorry, not deflecting your question, but we did cover the mini crawler stuff probably right before you joined on. So we actually went in depth with it. So once we're done, if you want to go back and reread that, at this time we're not in the works for anything mini, but something that we're definitely willing to look into.
I mean, that's one of those things that personally I am interested in, because I think it enables you to practice crawling in different environments. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a fan of a lot of the really, really small crawlers out there. Like there's a guy on YouTube who has like a 56 scale, and crawling over a keyboard is a challenge for him. So I think there's a lot of interest. It's a question of whether or not we get the green light to do that in light of all the other projects that we're doing.
Sure. Tony Gutierrez wants to know, will any of the new inventory of cars coming out come with low-profile tires? And there's a reason why we like them stock, right?
Yeah. And the stock tire, like, the whole thing was designed around the stock tire and wheel size because that's what a 64 was stock.
Right. So in essence, when we selected, it didn't, 64 Impalas didn't come with hydros.
Neither did they come with wire wheels. So there were some concessions made for the lowrider style of the car, but at the same time, if somebody wanted to like print a hubcap and put it on that wheel and lock out the hydraulics and use it as just a non-lowrider classic car, they could do that. So we felt that with that size, it gave it more flexibility. Obviously, we did come out with the low pros. So if that's something that people really want to see out of the box, that might be something we do in a future edition. But right now, there aren't any solid plans to do it.
Nice. Let's see. Louis Cullen wants to know, can we offer... let me see. Okay. Ooh.
Who's that? Who said that?
Someone answered that.
You're not...
I'm not on right now, so that's the big guy. Are we going to start selling chromoly axles? And we just answered, yes, we should have them in a week or two.
Chromoly axles for what?
For the 64, I'm assuming.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for the
no. It's just they're coming back in stock. It's the shipping issue, right? Yeah. That's like why it's so many.
I was like, what? How come I didn't know about that?
I'm pretty sure if there were chromoly axles for the 64 coming out, I would know about it.
So Louis wants to know, can we potentially in the future offer a special edition 64 with murals of you and me on them?
Oh, yeah. 1,000% yes. Heard it here first.
Are you guys going to start, right?
I got just the guy to paint it for us.
Right. Cody McKenzie asking about the drag cars again. We covered that earlier in the show, brother. We're getting ready to wrap up. I do apologize, but at the moment we are not working on anything related to drag racing. But if you want to go back and listen to that section of this, please go ahead, brother. There was one more thing. Oh, Candy and Chrome. Mr. Pablo here wants to know, will the new Impalas stock inventory potentially include towing modifications and bumpers?
Yes.
Oh, really? They will come with...
Yes.
And with that one, we're out, guys. Any stock green options? Mike, you're just going to have to wait and see what we have to offer, brother. That's all I can say. Guys, to all of you guys that are on, thank you again for showing up and being a part of Redcat Live. Again, we greatly appreciate all of you guys. Let me ask this one really quick. Josh Drake, are the Gen 8 pack kits still going to be available, or are they discontinued? I believe we've stopped production on those, right?
I don't know. Kind of that. A lot of those types of decisions are kind of out of my wheelhouse. Once it was designed and developed and out there, it's kind of out of my hands as to whether or not they keep making it. Unless something's broken, I don't really get very involved. So off the top of my head, I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
Well, there you go, guys. So,
although the boss is watching, so he might answer.
Right. So as you guys know, from all of us to all of you guys, we do greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Thank you guys for joining us week after week. We really look forward to the next chapter, and we'll see you guys early next week, or maybe at least at minimum, we'll see you guys on Wednesday for next week's show. So from all of us, all of you guys, again, thank you for the ongoing support. We appreciate all of you guys, all of our followers. Let's make Redcat what it is and what it's always going to be, which is a staple in the RC community. And it's because of all of you guys' help. Thank you guys so much.
See you next time.